Alright, so today, harvesting some of these bad boys. So these are black walnuts that have fallen from a tree. So the original tree we got, I had no idea how to plant these. We got a bunch of these from my wife's grandfather, my father-in-law's dad. He had a huge black walnut tree on his property before he passed away. And we kind of wanted to continue that. So we went up and collected 2 pretty large totes of these black walnuts, and of course, you know, didn't want to read anything to figure out how to do it, so we just went along and dug the ground through them, you know, just barely underneath the sod, threw a bunch of them all over, up through the woods, everywhere else. Well, of those 2 totes, 1 tree grew. Thankfully, we got 1 tree, but since then I've learned a little bit more about it. So what you really want to do is, whether you're going to harvest these to eat them or harvest them to plant them, the first thing you have to do is get this husk off, I guess I'll call it. And you really want to wait. You can see how here, if I push, see how I can indent that with my finger. So that's really where you want to start. You want to wait till it's kind of a little bit soft like that. So here, I'll show you. Get a little picture down the bottom of the sink here. So basically all I'm going to do is take and you can take a knife and cut through this if you want to. I usually just grab and twist. And really all I'm trying to do is turn this off. This is the first time I'm trying to do this, so this is what seems to work the best. I've seen people use knives, people stamp on them outside, but really that's pretty much all it is. There's some bad spots. And what you're going to want to watch for, you definitely want to have gloves. Mine ripped, unfortunately. I'm going to have a big yellow spot on my finger right here. These things stain either yellow or black, depending on what type, how far along they've gone in, I don't want to say decomposing, but of the husk there kind of rotting away. So we're just going to go through, I'm going to do a bunch of these. And then what I'm going to do is, I've seen people use pressure washers, I've seen people use different stuff. I think one of the ones I saw online, I think I like, is basically it's a paint mixer on a drill. The shells on these are extremely hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these in a bucket. Not a ton. I think I got about 25, 26 of these. I have more down there I have to go collect, but I'm going to start with these. And I'm going to clean them off, and I'm going to fill this bucket here to my right that I'm putting them in, just a Lowe's bucket. I'm going to fill that with some hot water, warm water. And I'm going to take that paint mixer, and I'm going to run it through, and just kind of stir them up and agitate the water. I'm probably going to have to dump it out quite a few times, but we'll see. Oh, the other thing too I want to note, other than gloves, when you are husking these, all these leftover husks, do not compost them. If you put them in your compost, and I can't remember, I'll try to find it before I post the video, there is a chemical that's in there that is bad for certain varieties of garden plants, particularly tomatoes. I know are at least one. So dump them somewhere in the woods, use them somewhere else. Just do not put them in your compost if you're going to compost it for your garden. All right, almost done with this, and then we're going to go mix it up with the, what's the thing called again? Almost done with these, last one here. Then we're going to go grab that paint mixer, throw it on the drill, get some water in this bucket, and see how it works. All right, so we got the nuts in here. One of the things I forgot to mention, see these ones that are floating? Once they've been in the water for a couple of minutes, any of them that are still floating are no good. You want to throw them away. They got worms or something else inside of them. They started to decay. But you do not want any of them that are left floating after they've been in the water for a few minutes. You don't want to use them. So I have this on high, and this is just a, you can see, just a normal paint mixer. I have this on high, and I have a variable speed drill. I'm not gonna crank it at first. I want to get it kind of built up slow, and then we'll mix it up a little bit. Again, the husks on these are extremely hard. So I don't think I'm going to have to worry about busting them up. But that should be good to get the initial one here. See how bad that liquid is? You can kind of see that there, but it ain't pretty liquid. Definitely want to be careful. You do not want to get it, I don't want to stick my hand back in there. You do not want to get it on your clothes. You don't want to get it on anything. As you're trying to go through and clean this out. So we're going to let this drain down here a little bit, and then we're going to get some fresh water in a bucket and do it again. All right, as you can see, we have the nuts in here, and you can see how many in here we still have floating. I think you can still see them. So I'm just going to go ahead and scoop the ones off the top. I'm going to throw these right in with the husk in this bucket because, if, like I said, if they're floating, they're not good to eat, and they're not going to be good to plant. So, whoop, there's 5, 9, 13, 14. So I had 27, and some of the stuff that I've seen online basically says you need to collect twice as many as you want to use. I had 27. I just had to throw 14 of them away, so I'd say that half works pretty good. That also is going to leave me, just like I said, these 13 that are in here. That should work pretty good. I'm not going to have to be cleaning as many now either, because I know those ones are not good. So, all right, we're going to mix these up again a little bit and see if we can get some more of the husk cleaned off. Starting to get there. Still got quite a bit of material left on them, but it's definitely coming off. You can start to see they're coming out a lot cleaner now. So some of them, these ones are just still dark. There's not a lot of fiber left on them though, and that's what I'm trying to. You're trying to get all that. You can hear the. You want to get down to that. You want to get all the soft stuff out of them. Easier way. I mean, if you don't have the drill, you don't want to make as big of a mess potentially. You could just take a brush, like a stiff bristled brush, and just scrub these. But I'm choosing to do this. Another thing that works, like I said, is a pressure washer. I've seen people put some in the bottom. You just take a pressure washer, stick the nozzle down in here, and just start blowing and blasting them across. That works as well. That's going to make a little bit bigger of a mess because it's going to be splashing back up on you. But this should work. Now these ones, I'm not worried about getting these ultra clean because I'm not eating these ones. These ones I'm going to plant. So if I get, like I said, a little bit of husk left on there, I'm not as worried about it. The main thing you want to do is clean the husks off so you can put them in here and see if they float or not. Because you want to only use the ones, again, that sink. Anything that floats, get rid of. So I think I'm going to call this probably good enough. I might hit them real quick one more time. Just to, you know, put them in here with the drill, get them rinsed off just a little bit more, and then kind of rinse some clean water over them. Just to make sure I got them as much of this husk off as I can. But there you can see we got our nuts in the bottom of there. So that's going to give us 3, 7, 10, 13. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay. So I have 13 in here I can use. Set this over here. Rinse this sink out a little bit. Again, it's just a utility sink down in my laundry room. It works. We're going to put in just a regular laundry sink, and then my father-in-law had actually put one in like this, but actually I put it in for him, but he wanted one like a deep sink like this, and it works great. It's good stainless steel. It's not so deep that you're like hunched over trying to lean down into it. We use it all the time for things like this, getting stuff out of the garden, cleaning vegetables out. Works out really well. All right, these guys in the sink. Again, make sure you're not having ultra good clothes on. When you first do this, you definitely, if you don't want your hands stained at all, make sure you wear gloves and you do not get holes in the gloves. All right, so we have our black walnut seeds. Again, I just threw them in a Ziploc bag here. The next step is going to be to cold stratify these, and you're going to want to cold stratify them for about 90 to 120 days. I'm choosing to do it in a bag in the refrigerator. But again, as I said before, you can do it planting them outdoors, keeping the soil moist, but you're going to have some kind of grate over the top of the whatever you're planting them in, whether it be a planter or a bucket or whatnot. You're going to want to have some kind of protective screen over the top so the air can move back and forth between it, but squirrels can't get into it. So I am using a seedling mix. Just a seedling mix. If you read online, a lot of them recommend that you use a mixture of sand and peat moss. Some say just peat moss. You know, but it's not like when these seeds fall to the ground out in the woods, it's not like they're falling into a mixture of sand and peat moss. Not like they're falling into, you know, not like they're falling into potting soil either. You know, but this does have the vermiculite in it. It's more of a sterile because it is a seedling starter soil, so it's more of a sterile soil. So I think it's going to work out well for these. And if you're watching this, you can kind of learn. I'm throwing enough in here, and again, you're going to want to wet it. You can see kind of how much I got in there. Not a ton, but I want to have just enough to be able to put in the bag to hold some moisture, because I'm going to seal the bag, and then to provide some kind of material around the walnuts. So, and you want to keep them moist. If you put them in the refrigerator and let them stay cold, that would work, but they more than likely are not going to cold stratify because they're going to dry. They're going to dry out. You need to keep them moist and damp, which is the soil will help do and surround them. That will help cold stratify them for that 90 to 120 days. And you can start inspecting them. When you start seeing the taproot come out, that's when you can take and transfer them into pots and start them growing. Now, if that happens before spring, I'm going to have to be putting them somewhere in the house, allowing them to get some light from, you know, from the window coming in or something. But you can take them out of the refrigerator or bring them in from outside at that point and get them in pots and let them start to grow, and then transfer them wherever you want to plant them. So we're going to wet this topsoil down here, potting soil down, seed starter soil. You don't want to get it overly wet. You kind of want to have it so if you grab it, it's going to clump together in your hand, but you're not going to be wringing water out of it. A little bit of water might come out, but you don't want to have a tremendous amount of water coming out of it. Similar to how you would start if you were going to be planting seeds. You know, you're starting your seeds indoors in the potting soil. Similar kind of content and moisture. And as we go through the winter with this, I'm going to be checking on these periodically, maybe once every 3-4 weeks. I'll pull them out of the fridge, make sure that the soil hasn't dried out, which again, in the Ziploc bag, it shouldn't. But the other thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pull it out and make sure that we don't have any kind of bacteria or mold growing on them. You'll see a white mold sometimes. You don't want that to happen. So here you can see the soil, and you can see if it kind of clump it together, it still will fall apart, and if I squeeze it hard enough, like I can get a little bit of drips out of it, but it's not like mud. So this is a good damp soil. All right, go down here a little bit. So now we have the bucket here. Take the bag. All we're gonna do is we're gonna hand. There's a little hand wedge there. Fill this bag up. I'll put these nuts in there. Again, I don't want to get it, you know, you want to have enough soil in there to surround all the walnuts, to kind of spread them out evenly. So I got that done. So I have all my walnuts here in the bottom, and I'm just going to kind of grab them and pull them up through. And all I'm doing is pulling them up, kind of mixing them up into the soil that they were in. Just so they're not all sitting on the bottom and they're kind of in the midst of the soil and they're not, like I said, laying on the bottom of the bag. Trying not to poke a hole in this. Some of the guides that I saw online when I was trying to research this a little bit were talking about poking holes in the bag. And the whole idea is you want to keep the nuts moist. Well, the inside of a refrigerator is going to dry anything out that you're going to use. So if you have holes poked in it, that's going to allow the moisture to escape. Maybe there's something else, but that's kind of how I looked at it. And I saw several that said just put it in a sealed container, and that's the route I'm taking. So you can see I'm going to seal this bag up a little bit. I'm going to try to get most of the air out of here that I can. Just getting this sealed. There we go. I'm going to kind of push this around, even them out. I'm looking, what I'm trying to do is feel where I have the nuts. I'm trying to make sure they're not all bunched up together, and trying to make sure I don't have any on the outskirts, but that I have them in this nice moist soil. So I have that leveled out. I'm going to take this bag now. I'm going to go and I'm going to set it in the fridge. and every 3 to 4 weeks you're going to check on it, and then hopefully it's beginning of November now, so December, January, February, March-ish time frame, 120 days, sometime February, March time frame, I should, when I check these in my normal check every 3 to 4 weeks, I should start seeing that taproot develop, and when that happens, I'll transfer them over into the regular pots, leave them indoors, take them out of the fridge, and then hopefully we'll have, with any luck, I got 13 hopefully viable nuts because they all sunk, so hopefully we'll have some trees starting in the spring. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this. Hope it gave you some information, some guidance on how to do black walnuts. I know I've seen other people do beech nuts, very similar process. Chestnuts, very similar process. So again, I know this worked for black walnuts, and I know, actually I didn't see the beech nuts, it was chestnuts I saw someone else do. And very same process. Put them in the moist soil, put it in the fridge, check them every 3 to 4 weeks, make sure there's no mold growing on them. When the taproot starts, get them in the pot and you're good to go. Hopefully this helps you. You can get some nice trees growing as well. We'd love it if you hit a thumbs up below, share it with your friends, leave a comment. It's always good. Hope everyone has a great day. God bless.